Hi and welcome to today's video, which is a roundup of the fragrances that I was focusing on in 2023. Now, I haven't included fragrances that I use once or twice. It's ones that I've used quite a few times. And I've also got fragrances that were in my project pan for last year. So as fragrances are quite individualistic, obviously not everybody's going to like the same fragrances that I like, and also I don't typically go for a lot that are uber popular. And in many ways it's a bit of a shame that I can't appreciate a massive range of perfumes, because there are certain notes I don't like, and I have a problem with most aldehydes, which are used in a lot of perfumes to project the fragrance. They often are smell very nasty to me. So I have a limited range of fragrances that I can select and call upon to use. So yeah, here are some from my collection. They're just part of my collection that I've been using during 2023. So I'm going to start off with those that I used serially in the project pan. So I started one, then I finished. So I've got two Boudoir Flankers by Vivienne Westwood. All her perfumes are discontinued and have been for a number of years. This one came out as a flanker in 2007, and this one I think it was in 2009. Now, I don't like the original Boudoir, but these are quite different. This one is a green floral called Sin Garden, so obviously the garden, this greenery note. I really love this. I think this may be the second bottle I've used, but and I do have a third which I've now opened, is that over time, because it had been used and it's old, the base note, one of the base notes I didn't like has come to the fore, and it is sandalwood. Now, sandalwood will develop and become more prominent with age. It is one of these notes that will typically do that. So I managed to use it up, and unfortunately the way it had aged, it wasn't a favourite anymore. So this one is Mon Boudoir, which is a black currant and blackberry, maybe a hint of raspberry, with white floral. Is quite crisp and fresh, and there's musk finish. Hasn't got many notes in, but I really enjoyed that one. Then the final one I put in October, which was really to get some use out of, is Serge Lutens Le Religious, which is the religious, and this has notes of church, like Christian church incense, like the European churches. So it has frankincense and myrrh, but it's not particularly challenging. It's quite subtle. It lies close to the skin. It has some white floral notes in as well. It's not bitter in any way, but I wouldn't say it is a blind purchase one because it is expensive. This is the 50ml version. There is a larger one as well, but I think it is eminently unisex, and Serge Lutens fragrances generally are. He works towards that, and his perfumes tend to be fairly challenging. So this one is less so, but the reason I wanted to try this is it has a screw top which comes separate in the box. It has a round screw top, a little globe that sits on top. Once you take that off, you can then insert this in, and then it comes with a different cap. But because you can open it, air gets in, as well as through the pumping action of getting the perfume out, so it can go off quicker than a crimped top. So the DAB perfumes obviously don't last as long, so I wanted to get some use out of it, and this is a lovely mauvey lilac-y grey looking fragrance, because he does dye some of his perfumes, and I really enjoyed that one. The next fragrance, this is to represent one that we used up and got discarded, but the bottle was broken, so we already had another in. This is going to be open for this year, but we did use a bottle last year. This is Madness by the perfume house Chopard, which is a jeweler. Now they do fragrances, and this one was from the late 90s, early noughties. And this one is Madness, so it is quite a jarring love or hate fragrance. I don't think there's much middle ground. It's got lychee, pink pepper, rose. It's got quite a sweetened rose, and it's got a strong incense base. The black pepper is quite striking on it, and it really isn't for everyone. I would say this readily is a unisex, but very, very strong. So me and Mr. Bear do enjoy wearing this. Now, I had a few bottles when this was launched, then it got discontinued, and for years I was bemoaning the fact that I'd used the last little bit that I had, and I found a market stall, and I actually happened to have some back in the back room, and they had a big box, and I was able to rummage through, and I got several boxes out of it, and I left one behind in case someone who loves the fragrance as much as me asked for it. So this was quite inexpensive because it was never popular, but I absolutely adore that one. I'd say that is a date night sort of fragrance. The next line I've got here are ones that I've used only a little. This one is the perfume 1970 by Bella Freud, the UK designer, and I think she's granddaughter or great-granddaughter of Sigmund Freud, the psychoanalyst. Now this one I think is the year of her birth. Now this was a bit of a blind buy, but then not so much, because I acquired a candle with the same name in a black container, and that one was a rich resinous, but it did have patchouli, but quite a clean patchouli, very hippie sort of fragrance. So I got this second hand online, and this one is much crisper. It's not that similar to the candle, but I still really like it. So this one is unisex. You used to be able to get it in a few boutique stores and a few high-end stores in London. It's now only available on her website. Maybe, I think she may have a store in London. And yeah, I'm really pleased that I got this. I've only used it a few times. It's an eau de parfum that acts like an eau de toilette, so it isn't the greatest performer, but there are ways to enhance it. But it just clings close to the body, and I really love that fragrance. The next one, going along back to front, is I have another favourite that I always hope to have in my collection. This is quite popular. It was popular at the time. This came out in 2017 when I got this, and it is Delina by Damali. Now, the House of Damali is new, fairly new. It's from Italy, and this is a wonderful perfume. It's the most popular one. So this is the original, which did at a point become known as Royal Essence. This one has lychee, black pepper and rhubarb as its top notes. So it is quite challenging for some people, but for me it's something that I'm after, because I like those notes, and you just don't, this is the only perfume that's got those particular combination. It then goes on to more of a standard floral, like pink floral, rose, peony. It's got violet in, which I really, really love, and violet leaf. And then it's got a incensey, musky, woodsy base note. Absolutely gorgeous. Now, I adore this perfume because of its uniqueness. Now, some people obviously didn't like the top notes, so it got reformulated and compressed. So there are less notes than in this, in the Delina exclusive. But to me, it's quite a bland fragrance, like many other florals. I don't think it's remarkable or worth the money. I think, arguably, is any perfume worth this is a lot of money. But I really think this is worth it, because this one stands out alone. So I do love it. I do use it very sparingly. It is a strong fragrance. The next one, again, this one's very strong. I got this in an advent calendar, and I opened up and used it straight away. It was a Harrods one, and it's Harrods Kumar, that's its name, by Tiziana Terizzi. So it's an Italian fragrance house. I think it's fairly new. I think it's about a few years. The only fragrance I have by them. This is obviously for the Middle Eastern market, because it is an oud, a sweet oud. Lots of different notes in, honeyed, sweet, floral, incense, but oudy, not a European incense. It's heavy, it's unisex, I would say. Not one that I would have gone out and bought, but I have enjoyed it this year. This is 50ml, I think, and it's half size, but again, it's exclusive to Harrods. The next item I picked up in 2022. I didn't use it much then. I've used it a bit more this year. This is by Kilian, Playing with the Devil. Now, I picked this up heavily discounted at Cosmetics Co. outlet, which is a subsidiary of the Estee Lauder company. Estee Lauder own Kilian. They bought the company a few years ago from Louis Vuitton Group, Hennessy. So this one I think it was heavily discounted because they were changing the bottle from black to white, because they have black and they have white. Now I think the white ones are going to be more the feminine ones and the black the more masculine. How much sure that's a wise move. I think I can understand this being black because it's got devil in the title, playing with the devil, but for some reason it's going white. Now I actually love the black bottles. I'm not keen on the white, and this has got what is called a talisman, which is on the travel atomizer. So yeah, it's a nice fruity floral with an aromatic woodsy finish. It's very, very similar, about 85% similar, or similarities to this, which is an absolute favourite of mine. And this one is a Versace Dylan Blue. This one has pear in the top note, and it has white floral, jasmine, some lily of the valley, quite a lot of tuberose, which is absolutely splendid for me, and gardenia. Absolutely beautiful. It has rose in, and an aromatic woods and incensey finish. I absolutely adore this fragrance. But like I say, if you want this one, or one very, very similar that isn't as expensive, but this is still expensive in its own right, but you get 100ml, and this is, like I say, the Versace Dylan Blue. I'm not a great fan of Versace, but I do adore this fragrance, and I always want it in the collection. This one is extremely strong. The Kilian is an eau de parfum, but nowhere near as strong as this. Absolutely love it. It lasts all day, even in extreme heat for me. It's more feminine, but it can be used as unisex, I would say. The final light use one is Gabrielle, the original Gabrielle by Chanel that came out in 2017. I got that as a gift from Mr. Bear. Now, this one has pear, it has freesia, it has jasmine and tuberose, and it is a very good tuberose, and it doesn't have a bubblegum element. It's quite idyllic and a lovely rich tuberose, but it nevertheless it is still quite a fresh, light fragrance. I think eminently suitable for spring and summer. Now they actually did another version fairly quickly, so I think two must have been designed at the same time, and it became the Gabrielle Chanel Essence. Now the Essence is a reduced version. It doesn't have tuberose because some people struggle with that fragrance, and it doesn't have as much floral notes in. It's unremarkable, but I think this one is absolutely beautiful because it has so many notes in. Absolutely beautiful fragrance. And it even has some pear, because I do love pear in there's certain fruits I really do like. So this is absolutely gorgeous, long lasting, and I always want to have that in my collection. So I'm going to move on to the fragrances that I used a lot during 2023. The first one, I wanted to see if I could really get some headway on this, and I've used it had very little use prior to last year, and it is Sexy Blossom from Michael Kors. Now, it's the only Michael Kors one I like. It was up to about there at the beginning, and I was hoping to see if I could pan it, but then I decided not to. I mean, I really hate the bottle, but I mean, I like the fact it's got pink, the pink dyed perfume, or a blush pink. What I don't like is the shape of the bottle. It always wants to fall over. So I may try and get a 30ml one, but they are going quite expensive because this one is discontinued. Unlike the rest, this one is. So if I can, I will get another and try and use that up. But it's a beautiful Lily of the Valley fragrance. Absolutely fresh. It has some gardenia in, some jasmine, rose, violet. Absolutely gorgeous. And then a musky, woodsy finish at the base, but really, really fresh. But I adore the fact that it's got Lily of the Valley in. I'm hoping at some point to get the Penhaligon's Lily of the Valley, but that is absolutely gorgeous. And I do have one other, like Yardley's version of it, which is lovely as well. Now the next one is by Shea and Blue, which is a UK perfumer, and this one is called Perfume Nashua. So this one is extract of perfume, so it's basically an oil-based perfume. I'm not sure if it's got alcohol in, or it may have. There is other chemicals very similar to alcohol, so they can be sold in Islamic countries. So I'm not sure if this is one, but it is an oud rose chocolatey fragrance, I think it's unisex. It may be slightly more geared towards women, but Shea and Blue are a unisex brand. Now, the problem I have with this, and I did buy this second hand, is that this is a very rich oil, and it does say extract of perfume, so it would give you an indication that it's an oil based. So it's not the purest pure of perfume, but it has a higher percentage than eau de parfum. And when I sprayed it on my neck or on my wrist, it caused a lot of allergies, a lot of sensitivity, so I can only use it on my body. But you only need 1 or 2 spritz. I've used about a third of it. I'm hoping to finish this up because it has been reformulated. Because indeed, before I purchased this, I did have a sample from Shea and Blue, and it did smell quite differently. It was much more fresher and lighter. But I do like the I think this is a lovely richer one. It's just my sensitivity is a problem, but that I feel that the reformulation isn't as good, in my humble opinion. But it has been put into this, the standard Shea and Blue bottle, although they have changed the colour of the tops. So I've also used a lot of this. I probably use 50% of its use was in 23, and the other 50% in 22. And it is a Tropa Belladonna, which was the first fragrance by Shea and Blue, and it is reminiscent of, or to evoke the scent of, Deadly Nightshade. So this one is a blackcurrant top with top note, with then Narcissus, which is daffodil. So this one is quite a metallic green flower. Generally, it's not on its own. You generally mix it with lots of other flowers, but this one really takes centre stage. So it is, and there is a little something maybe angelica in it for a bitter sweetness. So I wouldn't say this is a good blind buy. It's a bit unusual, a bit metallic, but I've enjoyed using that. It's light, fresh, and unisex. So that is an eau de parfum. Not the strongest of performer, I would say, but I like that of an evening, even when I'm at home. Then I have another that I use of an evening before I go to bed. This one is by the house Maison Margiela, the design house of Paris, and it is their sub-brand called the Replica brand of perfumes. They have the main Maison Margiela, which I'm not keen on, but the next one is Replica, and I think the Replica may have been their first fragrances. And this one, and they're all to evoke memories. This is the memory of being on a beach, it's beach walk. And it says description, sun-kissed salty skin, memory in a fragrance. So I've used quite a bit of this, mainly in 2023 and 2022. There's its spray bottle. It looks quite a medicinal type of bottle, which I really like. It's got obviously a coloured fragrance. Now, people say that it's obviously reminiscent of a beach, or some say sun cream. Now, a lot of people in America would have said that. In the UK, sun cream has not traditionally smelled anything nice. It's not a nice thing. It's quite a nasty chemically sort of thing. So to me, it doesn't smell like sun cream, but it does smell of fresh salt, caramel. Some say coconut. I would say it's more leaning to caramel. But it does have a beachy, summery sort of vibe to it, and I love wearing that of an evening. I find it very, very comforting. Now, I can't remember whether this is an eau de toilette, an eau de parfum. It's difficult to see on the bottle, but it performs like an eau de toilette. It's not the strongest perfume. It's this range are all unisex, but this leading slightly more feminine because of the sweet nature of it. But anyone can wear it, and I would always like to have that one in my collection. But that is very, very similar, if not a dupe, of a fragrance which has been discontinued quite a long time, and it is Lolita Lempicka, which I think is a Polish or Slavic brand, and it was a guy who set it up and just chose this name because it thought it would be quite a girly name, and the fragrance in particular is called Elle, which is a marine aromatic fragrance which does have caramel notes and coconut notes in. So it is very, very similar, very, very similar, and I do have Elle. But that, if you haven't tried that, because I know a lot of people raved, then this is a good one. But then this and the Chanel are the most popular ones that I have that other people do particularly like. And then I've got one other, again, that's fairly popular, and it's Signorina Misteriosa by Salvatore Ferragamo. Ferragamo, I should say. Now, this company was generally available in the USA for a long time, certainly a long time before it came to the UK, and it made in Italy. But in recent years it came over, and I was particularly intrigued with this Misteriosa. So this one is unusual. It's fresh, and you wouldn't think you'd put fresh and candy floss or cotton candy together, because that's its top note. But I can't believe there is a fresh note to it. And then you've got a fruity floral with a musky aromatic dry down. So it is very nice. It's quite accessible, I would say. It's not a challenging fragrance. I don't think it smells anything like the Signorina, the main perfume. This one's Misteriosa. It's very, very different. It's quite a creamy fragrance, so I really do enjoy that one. And then the final two that are probably one of my most warm, I would say, is I've had this a long time. You only need one little spritz, and it is by Comme des Garçons, that quite a challenging brand. And this fragrance, they all have the same bottle. It's Series 3 incense, and the only difference is the colour of the name. This one is Avignon, which is a city in France, and it is to represent, instead of the Church of Rome, it's the Church of France. Before the Catholic Church was based in Rome, it was based in Avignon. So it's basically old-fashioned medieval church incense, which you still have today. But this is a drier version. It's frankincense and myrrh fragrance, very, very dry and dank and dark. Now, modern church incense has a bit of rose in to sweeten it up. Not that rose is particularly sweet, but this is really dry. So I just have one spritz of that. This one runs more masculine than feminine, and I believe Morrissey wears this. That's his signature fragrance, and he has it pumped into the theatres, I believe, where he plays. And but I've had that longer than, I think I got that when it came out, so I don't know when Morrissey started wearing it. So anyway, this one is also I've had since it launched in 2004, but I've gone through many bottles. This is Kiehl's Original Musk. So this is a musk that's got some sweetness in. Now, musk is obviously originates from the glands of musk deer. Obviously no deer are harmed anymore. So I think this was an original formulation that Kiehl's found when builders went in to renovate an old pharmacy, and this recipe was there, so it would have used musk originally. This is it's got synthetic musk, but it does have natural florals in as well. It is sweet, but not overly sweet, so it's not a gourmand, but it does sweeten. They work wonderfully in synergy, but this is beautiful on its own. So when I go out, although I'll layer this first, I will take this in my bag because I've only got one of these. And then a friend of mine particularly liked that, so I bought her a bottle this year, and my mother's been wearing this for years. She wore this and loved it. So this one is definitely unisex. Kiehl's have marketed it as unisex. It's absolutely out of this world. Now, about 3 years ago, I tried to buy some more bottles and I couldn't get hold of them. I went to Kiehl, but I contacted Kiehl's, asked if it was discontinued. They said no. And anyway, they started in dribs and drabs coming back. So I bought a couple of bottles. I paid more than I should because it was so difficult to get hold of. Then at Christmas time, I thought, I'll just look up the availability of this. And lo and behold, this had been discontinued in June. So I couldn't find it in the standard retailers. Originally this was sold in Space NK, but then they stopped selling it a number of years ago. And I managed to find it in a wholesalers that sells to the public called Essentials. So it's it's one word, but it's got scent as in scent and Ewells. And it has a lot of discontinued items. I've bought so much stuff from that company. So what I did is I ordered a batch, then Mr. Bear ordered a batch. We both use it. We only have one bottle at a time. This is right near its end. Normally we finish one a year, but we didn't manage to quite finish in 2023. It's got a little bit left, and I ordered, like I said, quite a lot. So if you're interested in that sort of fragrance, you need to act quick because, like I say, once it's gone, and then these will go sky high in price. Now, this is an eau de toilette, but it is a very, very strong fragrance, working in as an eau de parfum, but fairly close to the body, unlike this, which projects fairly well. So they are all the fragrances that I focused on. There were others in my collection that I used just once or twice, but they were all the ones that I used. And what I tended to do is around 50% of a month I would use the project-based perfumes, and then the rest of the time I would use whatever I wanted from my collection. So like I say, most of these are available, fortunately, or at the as we speak. And if you're interested, go and check them out. But I accept that fragrance is very individualistic, and what I like, you may not like. What you like, I may not be able to tolerate, because I have problems with aldehydes. So one or two I can tolerate, and the rest I have problems with. So it really, really reduces down the fragrances that I can wear and enjoy. But can I say thank you very much for watching, as I do appreciate that your time is valuable. Hopefully I shall see you soon in another video. Otherwise, please take care of yourselves, and bye for now.